You're watching JKL, brought to you by Telkom Enterprise. Accelerate your business growth with reliable high-speed connectivity solutions from Telkom Enterprise.
And welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live. It is time for the bench with the two senators. Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, who's going for a second term despite the opposition. And there's plenty of it. And of course, the man they call the bullfighter of Ikolomani does not want to be senator anymore, wants to be governor of Kakamega. Can he make it? Will he make it? Before we go to the two gentlemen, by the way, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome both of you.
Thank you
Let's read some tweets real quick. Let's read some tweets because they're coming in thick and fast. Again, the hashtag JKLive. T. Kirotich says, think of SGR, power connection, service accessibility like the Huduma centers, odds, insecurity, civil servants, unrests. Let's go on. Victor Thinker with 2 R's. You say, I can bet that our MPs will fight any move to drastically cut their pay perks. I kind of agree with you there, Victor. Okay, another tweet from Agosh Kenboy. You say, how is the economy growing and prices of basic commodities are on the rise? Kevin Bogwa 88, you say, we love the wage cut proposal and how ironically our leaders agree to it just before elections. Implement it now. Good point there, Kevin. Ray Kipto, you say, at least the opposition behaved soberly and mature today. Kudos for that. All right. Keep the tweets coming at K Boni Mtetezi. That's the right one. At K Boni Mtetezi. At Kipchumba Murkomen. At Koinange Jeff. At Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag JKLive. Gentlemen, let's get right into it. Daktari, let me ask you first. Your quick thoughts on the State of the Nation address by the President.
It was all about good English. In fact, what Jubilee should know is that Kenyans were expecting a State of the Nation address. But what they were treated for was a State of the Nation PR address.
Senator.
I think, first of all, I want to thank the President for keeping with the Constitution itself, but specifically for enumerating achievements with facts and figures. Every time we have debated with our colleagues, because they cannot really face, like Khalwale is saying, they go for lofty words, sound bites, without really challenging the figures. We are saying we have connected 3.7 million homes with electricity. Can anyone challenge that? We are saying we have connected electricity with all major towns in the country, including Kakamega. Can he challenge that fact? We are talking about the railway. Well, you will be able to use the railway on June 1st. And members of parliament were invited for that right. Remember that the railway was built by colonial government. We are talking about 92 referral hospitals increased in the country. He's a doctor. Can anyone challenge that fact? So really today it was about, the road to Moyale, which used to take 3 days. It now takes 7 hours. The number of buses that are going the route from, the other day I drove with my family from Arusha to Voi. And the road is fantastic, and it was built within the last 4 years. So anyone who wants to challenge us must first come from the position of you have done 1, 2, 3, 4, but we expected you to do 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually what is going to make the debate a honest debate.
Okay, are you disappointed the President did not touch on hunger, for instance? There's a famine looming. Yeah. He didn't touch on that. 100-day doctor strike.
Well, I think the reason why the President never dwelt on the strike is because they found an agreement.
Are not hungry.
They reached an agreement yesterday. And I think in terms of really long term, the President went for the elephant in the room, which is the wage bill, and particularly the role of us constitutional office holders, including me and my colleague here, and what's our contribution to that. And I think the President made a very bold step by suggesting that we must have a pay cut. And I personally supported when the President suggested that before the SRC now took the constitutional means. And my suggestion would be to take it further, and I agree with the person who was tweeting, we must quickly hold a national wage bill conference, agree on the report of the SRC, and provide for the implementation date and pass with this parliament. In any case, I was telling my colleagues today, 80% of parliamentarians will go home. Why would you want to oppose a pay cut, which is going to create equity in terms of earning, and so that we can be able to pay our policemen?
Dr. Why is this
reasonable
wage bill cut coming at the end of his first term? Why now? Is it electioneering, if you will?
You know, I told you about PR, and I knew what I was talking about. Let me give you the story of a little boy who, at the end of the term, is expected to bring home a report card showing how he has done for the rest of the days he's been in school. Then he tells the mother, Mommy, next time I have decided I'm going to do very well. If President Uhuru wanted to speak on the scorecard based on the salary of members of parliament and other constitutional office holders, he should not make it futuristic. You have such a son, then honestly, you are not bringing up a son. You are growing a con man.
No, but
the salary that the president was talking about will come in the next parliament.
Yeah.
He should have told us how he has managed the wage bill in the last 5 years. That was an admission that he failed, and he wants to con people so that they can give another opportunity again when the same members of parliament want to pass bills that the president has a lot of interest in. He'll again allow them to increase their salary.
Yeah. Go on, Senator.
I think, first of all, I take offense with the use of uncivilized language when you say that the president wants to con people and so forth. Secondly, I don't like when members of parliament like Khalwale feign ignorance, because I don't believe that he's so ignorant that it doesn't know that the role of Salaries and Remuneration Commission as an independent commission is to actually work on the salaries of all public holders of office. And I want to come to that
when's
point.
the last time
First
MPs
of all,
gave themselves
absolutely.
a pay cut? When's the last time?
When MPs attempted to give themselves a pay cut, you remember they even wanted to remove SARA-SEREM commission. They failed because they had the support of the SRC, had the support of the president. The last time MCAs wanted to increase salaries, in fact, the Senate intervened. I was the chair of the devolution committee. They failed because SRC stood their ground. Now, Khalwale wants to assume that the president has that responsibility to determine the increase or failure.
Then what was he doing today?
What the president said
Why
today,
did he wade into it?
No, because you were not in the parliament and you didn't listen. You know, Boni, when you were elected to be in parliament to listen on behalf of people of Kakamega and make factual arguments, the president never talked about him cutting wage bill.
We've just
he talked about
we watched the
having...
clip.
No, listen. You're watching clips and you were elected to go and listen. You know, the president talked about he has a report from SRC. And that report from SRC, he urged the parliament that he supports us, the president, but he urged the parliament to support that report. And I think, and that's why I was saying, as a leader here, I am providing also my suggestions on the direction. We should, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, hold a national conference on salaries and agree on some few things that I think it can assist in what SRC is talking about.
Realistically, Senator, realistically, will it happen? Will it happen?
I will be the senator of Marakwet next term. I am one of the leaders that has said that we want to pass and adopt this report now so that it can be implemented as soon as August 9th.
So why do you need a conference? Why do you need a conference?
No, for me,
Senator,
it's
why don't
because
you
the reason why I think we need a national conference on that fact is that we need to debunk all the issues. Because it's not just about senators.
Yeah.
We have to deal with the MCAs, we have to deal with the commissioners, we have to deal with judges. You know, that includes judges.
Okay,
so that we can have a holistic adoption of that information.
The president has got egg all over his face.
How so?
He was unable to manage the doctor's crisis, 100 days, thousands of lives lost. He was unable to manage, that is salary. He was unable to manage the strike by the lecturers. He has been unable to address the demands by teachers for a salary increment. So as to play PR to them, instead of addressing it, he's come and told them, you know, sometime during the life of the next parliament, I'm also going to make elected leaders to take a pay cut. Who doesn't know that President Uhuru and his deputy told Kenyans they were taking a pay cut? And they never took the pay cut.
Gentlemen, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears. We don't know. We can talk about salaries and pay cuts forever. Let's switch gears. Let's go to NASA and Jubilee. Let me start with you, Dr. A new poll not too long ago put the Co-principal, Raila Odinga,
Yes.
68%.
Yes.
Closest, Kalonzo Musyoka, 13%.
Yes.
The person you were supporting, or you have been supporting from day one, Moses Wetangula, at 2.2%.
Yes.
You were not happy with that poll, InfoTrack poll. Why?
Let me tell you, the InfoTrack poll should be assessed against the opinion polling law, to which I am the father. I created the public opinion polling law. They should, before announcing the result as they did, have made, in accordance with that law, a disclosure of who paid for that poll. What was the sample population that they polled against? What were the educational standards? What are generally the demographics?
Who cares?
So because they didn't,
Raila is on top.
let me
Anyway,
tell
look
you,
at it.
because they didn't, we cannot authoritatively speak to it. But, however, I want to accept it as it was. What's wrong with Raila being 68%? What's wrong with Wetangula being 3%? If that is the finding of the people have spoken. In fact, were it to be scientific, then it would go a long way in helping me, as a person who sits on the National Coordinating Committee, for identifying the flag bearer.
Okay.
To make a decision.
Speaking of flag bearer,
Yes.
is Raila the flag bearer?
When we have a flag bearer, we're going to announce it in broad daylight.
Senator, what's taking them so long?
I think, these NASA people are taking us in circles. We know that Raila Odinga is going to be the candidate. We know that Kalonzo was being 80 out as a running mate, but he has fought very hard. They don't know how to handle Musalia Mudavadi, who supposedly more popular, of course, than Wetangula from Western.
Yeah, we'll get to Wetangula in a moment.
And so forth. And I think the confusion we have in NASA was actually what we cured in Jubilee by making sacrifices, politicians on our side making sacrifices, saying they will support the president and the deputy. There is no confusion as to who holds the, even in 2013, the deputy president just made a decision to join with Uhuru Kenyatta, and they supported him and worked forward. So the results we see in NASA is actually the demonstration of their greed, but also possibly and very clearly that they want to mislead the public that they are doing any nomination process, but they are doing just a PR exercise.
Yes.
When we know, and I have said here as a matter of fact, we are preparing for the competition with Raila Odinga. We know him, we know his game, we know the game he's trying to play, and there's nothing here we're wasting time.
Dr. Ari, isn't it true that NASA without Baba is nothing? Let's face it.
You cannot say that. What you should be doing is you should be listening very keenly to the anxiety in the voice of Kipchumba Murkomen, because they don't know how to handle us. They don't know whether we shall give them Mudavadi, we shall give them Weta, we'll give them Mudam, we will give them Khalwale, we'll give them Orengo, we'll give them Philip Murgor.
You'll give them Murgo?
I'm saying they don't know.
By the way, Murgo is ahead of Wetangula. You know that in that poll.
Exactly. So now, because of that, they are urging us so that their anxiety can go down. Let me tell you the story of the hunting skills of a cat. The cat will run very fast after a mouse. But when it is now finally confident that the mouse is going nowhere, it starts playing around with that mouse like this. We have already run rings around Jubilee. It's going nowhere, so we are now just playing.
So
with
what
them.
you're saying,
but as a matter
Senator,
of fact,
what he's saying is the
Yeah.
lineup for 2017
Yeah.
is the same as it was in 2013.
Of course, absolutely. And then
Raila flag bearer, Kalonzo
is
running
going to
mate.
be running mate, and if that doesn't happen, the NASA will come to an end. And,
How you
and,
wish.
And the most important thing here is the example he was giving about the rat and
the cat.
This is the story of the three mice, running around, the same place, and wondering who will bail the cat. Really, they don't know exactly who will
Is it
bail the
blind
cat.
mice or?
Yeah, the blind mice.
Okay.
The blind mice. And by the way, let me tell
And
you,
the
Jeff,
three mice are Duale, Deputy President and
I have said
They
in
don't
this-
know who will bail our cat.
I have said in this show here that NASA have a choice. It's a conglomeration of losers who lost the elections in 2013. If you combine their votes, they were still behind from Uhuru Kenyatta by 800,000 votes. And the fact is that we are saying they have a choice to lose individually or lose separately.
You're confident?
I am absolutely confident. You know, can I show you the source of my confidence?
Go on.
We are politicians. We are elected leaders. If you see a situation where 3 governors, from Coast, you have a senator from Coast running for governorship and he has left his party. You have a host of members of parliament, almost 17. You have MCAs, almost 40, who are in an opposition party. They are coming to join Jubilee. If you have the same replicated in all over Northeastern, all over the parts of Western Province, I mean, really, it is an indication. No politician makes a decision knowing that it's going to be the wrong decision. By virtue, even if it means taking a risk, for them to have made that decision, somebody like Mvurya, who is a very popular governor, for him to make a decision and without being pushed, without having a competition to join Jubilee. Somebody like Hussein Dado, who has no competition, decided to join Jubilee. Yeah. It's a signature of the influence that Jubilee has on the people of areas that voted for CORD last time.
Okay, speaking of competition, you face a lot of competition in your backyard. Former IG David Kimayo says he's going to take you on. And by the way, Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho has offered you a job. Yeah. As MCA or something, I don't know.
Is it Mombasa Governor or Bomet? I don't know. No, this is
Bomet.
Is it Bomet? He was saying that he wants a lawyer in his county. I think, first of all, he's insulting all my students that I educated and schooled in Bomet. He has been unable to employ the young people in Bomet. He is offering a job from someone from Elgeyo Marakwet County. If he's desirous of a lawyer, I have more than 20 lawyers I taught in law school that I can offer to go and advise him. But this is the point. Yes. The point is that Jeff, and I'm not being disrespectful to Mr. Kimayo. Kimayo is the age of my father. My dad is 59, Kimayo is 57. So it's the same generation. His children are my children's age. I grew up together. We come from the same neighborhood, the same ward, actually. I have gone around the county. I haven't found where he is or where someone says he supports him. It would be wrong on a national television to discuss a candidate who is not even being discussed in the county itself. It will be a waste of public resources and time.
You know,
he's listening.
This is serious talk. You cannot talk about Kimayo and expect Mtetezi wa Wanyonge not to defend the poor man.
Go on, Mtetezi, go on.
I want to request Senator Murkomen to climb down, come back to planet Earth. You have run once in an election and you have won that election. You've made a very pointed statement here that 70% of the elected leaders are going to lose. Who says you cannot be one of those 70? Climb down. The reason why Kimayo is being felt beyond the borders of Elgeyo Marakwet is because he's addressing the people's agenda, i.e. insecurity. You are missing in action.
It is true. It is true.
Yes. No, he is missing in action to this extent that hundreds of Marakwets have died during this insecurity. Thousands of goats and cows have been stolen. The senator only came out to speak when the MP in Baringo, Cheptumo, who is a lawyer like him, raised his voice. Otherwise, senator is missing in action. He's busy flying in choppers. Senator is busy calling himself number 3 in government, that is in kitchen government. How can you be proud of being in the kitchen government when the same government that you are serving cannot give your people security? It cannot give them food. It cannot give them water.
This is a very good discussion.
You can't.
I am the only senator in Kenya who has been held account on matters of security. In fact, so many people died in Kakamega 2 years ago on some gang in Bungoma, in Northeastern. Nobody asks the senator, why have you not addressed insecurity? But I'm very proud of the government in the matters of security in Marakwet and Baringo and the response therein. It's a lie to say, by the way, Jeff, it's a lie to say that I have not been with my people. I have addressed more than 50 meetings, sitting with my people, sitting with them to make decisions on what we need to do. It is through my intervention that today we have, for the first time in the history, despite the fact that we used to have an IG who comes from that area, for the first time in history, we have 240 police reservists in Kerio Valley. No, I need to make clear this point.
Yeah, get to the point.
We have about 300 police officers who are serving in that area. We have about, we have now
but we're not seeing the fruits of their presence.
Vehicles working in that area. Where we have established 4 police stations. We have more police vehicles.
9 people were killed today.
No, let me just.
I'll
come to that. I'll come to that. I'll come to that. We have lost more than 40 people in my 2 counties itself. Thanks to my intervention, we have done a lot in that place, and my people are very proud of what I've done for them. But to be able to simplify the attack of bandits to be a question of just the senator being able to deal with it, when an inspector general of police who served the country for 35 years was unable to deal with insecurity until he was chased from office, to say that he will be able to deal with this insecurity issue when he no longer has instruments of power. He's not inspector general of police. He's actually joking the country because, and I want to say this, Khalwale, just because he has a candidate that is sympathetic to NASA, does not give him the license to contradict himself. Khalwale was on top of tables in the Senate saying Imaya must go and Olelengo must go.
And I succeeded.
And you succeeded. And so, how is he able then to make that argument?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do when Kimayo beats you, if Kimayo beats you?
Let me make it abundantly clear. It is not even an option.
Senator.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, Senator, you have said you have taken brisk action against insecurity in your place. Could you tell Kenyans, why haven't you opened your mouth on the killing of Pepe, on the killing of the MCA?
I think,
can you relax? Relax.
I think
we are teaching our children how to debate.
I think Khalwale has come here drunk because he's confusing. He's confusing.
I know
he's confusing Baringo County from Elgeyo Marakwet. And uncle,
but you're number 3 in government.
The reason why
don't you listen?
The reason why Khalwale is confusing that is because perhaps he's saying there is no senator in Baringo or there is an absentee senator in Baringo.
Oh, we'll come to that in a moment. Yeah. We'll come to that in a moment.
Okay.
Senator, let me ask you this. Let's jump.
Can I conclude my statement?
Yes, go ahead.
I was asking, why has he refused to break his silence on the killing of Pepe? Why has he not raised his voice about Kamama being in charge of security, a local member of parliament, and members, elected members of that community who are on TV here in in KTN, demanding that he steps down?
Okay.
No,
hold on.
I think
would you be part of the syndicate?
I think Khalwale is suffering from selective amnesia.
How?
And or a failed memory.
Yes.
Because he's either the two. I have been on many talk shows saying that it is time for Kamama to voluntarily resign. Remember, there was a time the committee attempted more than once to get him out of chairmanship. They did not succeed. It is in the purview of National Assembly to determine who chairs their committees. But I would say from a moral perspective, being blamed all the time and being told that most of the aggressors come to your constituency, I have said to Kamama in person, and I have said on talk shows, including even last week, that it is important and necessary for Kamama to step down.
Okay, hold on.
Secondly, the issue of amnesia.
Jeff, you know, Khalwale, being the only brand of politics he has played in his life, is shouting on top of voice, shouting all over, making noise. He's never been able to, and I don't know how he's going to make to be a governor, because Khalwale has never sat down to plan and manage and organize anything. For me, I have the privilege of approaching government and tell them then take action on 1, 2, 3, 4. And every time I've done so, Inspector General of Police, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, the President of the Republic of Kenya have responded positively to the cries of my people.
Is that why you think you're number 3?
No, I have never thought. No, that's. We need to clear this thing.
Yes.
We need to clear this thing today once and for all. It can only be an ignorant person who can go public saying that there is something called number 3 in Kenya. And number 3 of what? Because we are talking about, we have executive. I am only number 2 of the Senate because I'm the deputy majority leader.
Okay.
And if that is going to be the issue of number 2, I'm number 2 of the Senate. But there is a perception out there that because of my contribution politically,
and your connections,
connections or whatever it is, there is the belief out there that because of my participation and contribution to this nation and
to
loyalty
the connections. Okay.
So
that
I could be ranking. He has raised a very important issue of amnesia. Amnesia.
Yes.
Amnesia. People can think I have that kind of problem. If there's anybody today who has depicted either total or selective amnesia, it's my colleague here. When you say that you cannot speak about insecurity in Baringo and in West Pokot because you come from Elekeo Marakwet, you are pretending that you don't know that these raids, they cut across the borders.
That is a lie.
The Marakwets go to Pokot, the Pokot go to
Gentlemen, we can talk about this all day long.
But we need to correct one thing.
What was your question?
We need to correct one thing.
Why are you so defensive? Answer the question.
I am the only senator I have done more meetings on insecurity in Baringo than the senator of Baringo.
Okay.
And I want to make this, I have done meetings in West Pokot than the senator of West Pokot in my county. I just want to
is the man who is doing it, not you, not you.
No, can we conclude
Let's go to Western.
So the
let's go to Western.
If it means a cross-cutting question of insecurity in Kerio Valley, I have been on top of the game.
You've done your bit. Okay, let's move on. The senator here just said you're running for governor. We all know this. You've declared you're running for governor of Kakamega. Where you were sitting right now a couple of weeks ago, your good friend Barack Muluka said Governor Oparanya will wipe the floor with you. Not in as many words, but basically he says you will lose badly to Oparanya. Your thoughts?
My brother Muluka is entitled to his opinion, just like any other Kenyan. But his opinion does not carry much weight for two simple reasons. One, that he was earning his brief. He is on record for being on the payroll in Kakamega for little consultancy jobs from Oparanya. And two, Barack Muluka is not a voter in Kakamega County. He's a registered voter somewhere here in Takoreti. So his word does not count.
Okay.
And finally, it should not be lost to members of the public that Muluka has not just entered into the arena of politics. Muluka has twice run to be member of parliament in Khwisero. And the last time he ran in 2002, he was defeated in his home polling station where he got a paltry 20 votes against his opponent, 400 votes. So you take him for what he is. The poor man, what do you...
Fine. So you've declared you're running for governor. What are your chances? Because there's some critics out there who say you're hiding under this senatorial position of yours. In case you don't get the gubernatorial, you'll jump back and run for senator. What are your chances?
That is a demonstration of failure to read or failure to understand what you read in the Constitution. The Constitution does not provide for a possibility whereby you can hold one position while you are running for the other one. The position of governor of Kakamega is not vacant. Neither is the position of senator of Kakamega. They'll both become vacant on the 8th of June this year. And that is when I'll start my journey of removing the guy from office, and another younger person or age-mate or older will come and occupy my position in the Senate.
Senator, does he have any chances?
Well, I personally think that, you know, every politician has whatever chance it is, smaller or whatever. But I want to address the Khalwale, the governor. If Khalwale becomes governor, what will Kakamega look like? Because, you know, I'm thinking about the Khalwale who intoxicates bulls and runs around on bullfighting. A governor is expected to improve the breed of cows in his place.
Yes.
I'm talking of the Khalwale who is buying busa and changa and dancing isukuti in the streets. I'm talking of Khalwale who has lived all his life, you know, attacking people and dealing with the protests and street protests and so forth. I have not seen my colleague, whether in the Senate or elsewhere, to assume that managerial position where you have to balance interests between the county assembly, the county executive, and so forth. So it will be an interesting thing to watch Oparanya, of course, comes from a managerial perspective. We in the Jubilee are going to have a very serious candidate whom I think is going to win after our nominations. But and if Khalwale wins, really it will be a very interesting argument to see a person like Boni Khalwale working on the breeding of...
I like his admission. I like his admission that he doesn't know Khalwale. Of course, when I was running as the MOH, the Greater Kakamega District Medical Services, the poor man was in kindergarten. He could not have known me. When I was serving as an assistant minister in the East African community, the poor man was in high school. So the Khalwale you have seen is the balance of the little you have known by dint of your age. That's why the Swahili say, kuishi kwingi ndio kuona mengi.
But we must
take your time.
We must quickly point out that
yes.
Honorable Khalwale is again the age of my dad, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with me being a young person.
Yeah.
And you're the age of my son.
Yeah, I agree.
Nothing wrong with kindergarten.
I don't, and there's nothing wrong with
And
that.
my son is an advocate of the High Court who appears in court.
No problem.
You have never appeared in court.
No problem.
Can you tell us what case,
No.
for example, you have done? My son normally tells me.
No problem. I must have taught your son in the university.
No.
So those are my...
How do you teach your age mate?
No, it can't be my age mate. He's slightly younger because I know him, and he must have been my student. If I'm not wrong.
No.
He must have been my student.
No,
but the point is that I have manufactured so many lawyers, including the President Murkomen was my master student.
Philip Murkomen?
Yeah, Philip Murkomen. And
you taught him?
I taught Philip Murkomen and Achilo Yako, and they passed my subject very well.
What are his chances?
We don't even need to discuss. Because of friendship of being my former student, I can only tell him good luck. But this is the point I want to make, that age and all these factors are not an issue. And our friend being a former assistant minister, you know what an assistant minister used to be, you know?
Gentlemen, hold on. Okay.
You see, Murkomen, on that, 1 minute. We are not running anywhere. Murkomen, you know, it pays for you to understand that there is no university in the world, not even Harvard, where a subject called experience is taught. You learn experience by putting your hands on it. And so because you have never put your experience on anything other than the little works you have done in the echelons of the legal practice, it doesn't mean you have experience.
Okay, gentlemen.
But honestly, let's just point this. You can have experience, but the wrong experience.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Experience of intoxicating bulls for 10 or 15 years does not make you a better manager.
You have a problem with bulls, huh?
No, I have no problem with bulls, but I have a problem with someone getting changa and giving to bulls so that they can fight.
Okay.
Where does that happen?
Gentlemen,
where does that happen?
As we go into break, think about this question from Ahmed Mohammed in Isili, okay? He says, ask the senators, why is it that all senators want to be governors? Is it greed? Hold on. Is it greed? Think about that question as we go to break.
Okay.
As we go to break, and then come back and talk about your connections. Is the DP under Sieke?
We will talk about it.
Is he under Sieke? And why is Weta so quiet?
But
where is Weta?
Sieke is somebody's name. So don't...
Under siege.
No.
Keep tweeting.
He knows.
He knows. At K. Boni Mtetezi, at Kipchumba Murkomen, at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag JKLive. Keep the tweets coming, and they are coming thick and fast. We'll talk about the state of the nation. We've gone beyond the president's speech. We're talking the bigger picture. Stay with us. You're watching Jeff Koinange live on Citizen Television. We'll be back in a moment.
You're watching JKL, brought to you by Telkom Enterprise. Accelerate your business growth with reliable high-speed connectivity solutions from Telkom Enterprise.
And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live right here on Citizen Television to talk about the state of the nation with the doctor himself, the bullfighter from Ikolomani, Senator Boni Khalwale, and the senator from Elgeyo Marakwet, Kipchumba Murkomen, in the House, State of the Nation. Let's get to some of your Facebook posts. which are coming in very thick and very fast. Omogusi George, you say, ask both senators what values they stand for and what bills they have brought to the Senate to support those values. Oh my, think of that, okay? Next, Kevin Kinge Sr., you say, with the tyranny of numbers, why didn't you guys change the fact that 50% of our revenue goes to 2% of the population?
I tell you.
Damn painful,
I tell you.
All right. Shem Kibet Ngetich, you say, Uhuru has done what no government has done, including the colonial government and kings of all the kingdoms before 1900 BC.
He lives in a full paradise, that one.
All right. Keep the tweets coming at K. Boni Mtetezi, at Kipchumba Murkomen, at Koinange Jeff, at Susan Kenya. The hashtag we're using all night long is JKLive. Gentlemen, there's a question before the break from Ahmed from Isli, Asmali. He says, why do you all want to be governors? Well, most of you. Is it greed? What is it?
No, I think that's a sweeping statement. We have governors who have understood devolution and who have done a good job. I can confirm for now that Governor Isaac Ruto, for instance, all these 100 days when there were no doctors in our hospitals, in Bomet, public hospitals were functional because the governor knows that health is fully devolved. Governor Peter Munya, for example, the one of Meru, has increased his revenue, local revenue collection, by over 3 billion shillings from where he found it. Those are governors who understand how devolution functions. However, and then further to that, we have other governors who have opened themselves to oversight so that they remain accountable and their transactions are
How has Oparanya done?
Very poorly, because up to now, he's the only governor in Kenya who has never come before the Senate, and my colleague is here, to answer questions on why, how, what, and what for did you spend the money. So, in conclusion, I am very hopeful that the few or many senators who will succeed to become the second generation governors will do a better job because they have understudied devolution right from the top.
Okay.
At the Senate
I just want to respond to that.
Yeah.
I think many of the senators that are going for governors mean very well. They might have been driven by the inspiration of being in an oversight position, so they can see what's expected of a county government, and they want to go and change. And in fact, as a matter of fact, what I believe in is that this mantra that senators are greedy because they're going to be governors is actually driven by governors who feel threatened because now the persons who are doing oversight have a better understanding of what needs to be done in the county, and they can articulate the message very well. Why am I saying that? Because this profiling of this message is wrong. We have two senators, Senator Mongare and Senator Wetangula. They are running for president. Nobody has said they're greedy. We have about 40 members of National Assembly. They are running for governor. Nobody is saying they're greedy. We have more than 100 MCAs who are running for member of National Assembly. Nobody is saying they're greedy. In fact, there are many speakers of county assembly who are running for MP or senator. So to actually pick on senators alone is to run with that story of people who are profiled.
But let's also face it.
Let me go back. Let me go back to what.
You people, senators, you have no budget. You have no budget.
But let me tell you.
No money.
Let me tell you, Jeff. Can I say this?
We are not supposed to have a budget.
Let me tell you something. We have senators who are in the Senate. We are not supposed to do executive work. As a matter of fact, I'm coming back to Senate, and I'm not expecting that we will have CDF-like of kind of thing.
Were you thinking of going for governor? Were you thinking? Were you tinkering?
No, not at the moment. You talk about myself, Mutula Kilonzo Jr. We have Senator Aaron Cheruiyot from Kericho. We have senators that actually, there are more than 10 senators who are coming to the Senate. We have also senators who have just made a decision to retire from politics and are not running, like Bill Okero and Abdirahman.
Okay.
So to create this impression that there is a kind of greed, we have actually senators who are even going to run for National Assembly. And we have a senator who is running for MCA in Kakamega.
Okay, switching gears. By the way, Arif says on Twitter, Murkomen looks like he's come for a photo shoot.
He should have said Murkomen looks smart. I mean,
That's
really.
Your good friend,
Yeah.
Deputy President William Ruto.
Absolutely.
Is he under siege?
From
Is there
from
friction
who?
between him and
Senator Gideon
Senator
Moore, yeah.
Gideon Moore? Is there friction there? Does he feel he's being left out of this Jubilee bandwagon?
Gideon Moore being left
No.
out? First of all, let's say that those who are manufacturing a friction between the president and deputy are actually missing the point, because that friction only exists in newspapers, and particular newspapers that are linked to the senator. Number two is that, and must be understood, the senator is running for a senator in Baringo County and has a very serious challenger who is a Jubilee candidate. So to try to say that there is a Jubilee that's leaving the deputy president for a senator of another county whom we have our own candidate running against him is actually to create, we are just lifting.
Hold on.
By the way, can I say this?
Yes.
And with all due respect.
Yes.
Senator Gideon Moore is my colleague in the Senate. Yeah.
Correct.
Luckily, I am senior than him in the House. So to
Because
try,
you're deputy.
I'm deputy majority leader.
Yes.
He's our chair of one of our committees, and the point must be made here that Senator Gideon Moore is not running for deputy president 2017. There is no contest between him and the president. If there's a contest, it is between him and Chelugui in his
But
own
there's
county.
something happening in 2022. But let me just come back.
We are not in 2022 yet.
Hold on. Nick Salat,
Yeah.
when NASA was holding their
Yeah.
rally in Bomas, he said, Kanu tuko
Ndani.
Ndani,
Ndani.
Ndani,
Yeah.
Ndani.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
2 weeks later,
Yeah.
Gideon Moore comes up and says, we will support the president, but not the deputy.
Yeah, it's because going to school is very good, and reading the Constitution is important. There's no way you can support the president without supporting the deputy. It is, if you go to the ballot paper,
Yes.
that is going to pick, as he ticks for Jubilee, he will be ticking William Ruto. So he has to make a decision.
Dr. Ari,
He has to make a decision.
is what this
let
man
me-
saying true?
Yeah.
No, what you are seeing is again manifestation of inexperience. The poor senator doesn't realize what is at play is succession politics.
What poverty is this that this guy is talking about?
Poverty of mind. What is at play is succession politics. In the scheme of things of succeeding Uhuru, Ruto does not feature. The person who features is Gideon Moore. And if you needed any evidence, you saw how Uhuru's mother went and persuaded Gideon's father, and thereafter Uhuru went to Gideon's father, and they had a tete-a-tete. And after that, Gideon announced that he was going to support Uhuru. Moi would like a situation whereby Gideon supports Uhuru, and then if Uhuru were to win, God forbid, then Gideon succeeds Uhuru. Ruto
But
should
is that-
accept that he has no physical address. He's like Khalwale, son of a Janga brewer, and him is a son of a chicken seller or some funny things. These guys don't know people like him. It is the campus who say, Nehu.
Let's say two things. One, I think Senator Khalwale has now demonstrated that poverty of mind. Because really, when you think about a succession, Khalwale is talking as though Kenya is a monarchy, where when President Kenyatta finishes his term in 2022, luckily, thank God, Khalwale has admitted here. When he finishes in 2022,
Right.
he has no power to hand over power to anybody by virtue of a monarchy.
But let's face it,
Everybody, no, just
succession
wait,
politics
just
is
wait,
succession
just wait,
politics.
just wait. Every person who wants to be the president of Kenya after Uhuru Kenyatta must roll up his sleeves, must pull up his socks, and must be able to be willing to get out there to get votes. Number two, by his own admission, I am happy that William Ruto can be able to make his own decision, and no one needs to visit his father for him to be assisted to make a decision.
Can William-
Number three,
Yes.
and more important, people must not forget that nobody knew the father of Moi, nobody visited the father of President Moi for him to make a decision to be the president of Kenya or a senator of Rift Valley on his
William
time.
Ruto-
Let me just say
Pass
that.
me the mic.
Mzee Kenyatta, nobody knew his father, and he didn't take his father, and they became presidents of Kenya. The same to Mwai Kibaki.
So
the idea
what
that
are you saying?
The idea, because Khalwale is selling a very tired monarchical kind of thinking that we are in a monarchy where the queen will pass to his so forth. He must wake up to the reality that under this constitution and the Kenya we have, every citizen who wants to be able to become the president of Kenya must convince the whole country.
Can William Ruto beat Gideon Moi in 22?
Just think it this way. How many members of parliament came from Rift Valley on URP? Nearly all of them except 3. How many senators came from Rift Valley on URP? All of them except 2. How many governors came from Kanu in Rift Valley? 0. Or Kenya? 0. So you cannot even equate that contest. In 2007, Gideon Moi, William Ruto cost the loss of a seat of Gideon Moi. So you cannot match.
Senator,
There's nothing to be compared.
Yes. I'll ask you the same question.
Yes.
After President Uhuru is finished with his term,
Yes.
like you said,
Yes.
22,
Yes.
can William Ruto beat Gideon Moi?
I answer you by responding to what he has said very quickly. What viewers are hearing from Senator Murkomen is classical classroom talk, academic. But in the world of real politics, that is why Moi, having been served by Saitoti for all those years, he told Saitoti that uongozi sio urafiki. So, and he went and fished Uhuru from nowhere.
Yeah.
And he's the reason why Uhuru is what he is today. That is called real politics. So after the vote of 8th of August this year is when Ruto will suddenly realize that he doesn't feature in the scheme of things. The
Scheme
use
of
and
things of who?
dump.
Scheme of things of who?
Succession.
You can only
Succession
feature
politics.
in the
Be a
scheme of
good
things
debater.
of the voters of Kenya.
Be a good debater.
There is no, first of all, you cannot compare the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya with a vice president. The deputy president of the Republic of Kenya is elected. In fact, were it not for the humility and the comradeship and friendship, camaraderie that the president and the deputy have, if it was Kalonzo and Raila, we could be having fights in this country because it was almost, we're running a coalition, but because of his determination. Number 2, the person who will be the president of Kenya after next election will not be elected because he's a Kalenjin. It's not a debate between William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. It will be a debate between a competent Kenyan who is capable of delivering the promises of Kenya, who has demonstrated capacity. And there is no other politician. Forget about discussing William Ruto versus Uhuru Kenyatta. There is no other politician after Uhuru Kenyatta that can match the record of William Ruto. Not Raila Odinga, not Kalonzo Musyoka, not Wetangula, not Khalwale cannot even feature in it. So really, it will be about the track record and capacity of a leader.
You're already campaigning for him, and it's not even...
I am not campaigning for him. His deeds are campaigning for him.
Jeff,
by the way,
you must
listen, Jeff, I was never convinced to support William Ruto because he's a Kalenjin.
Why do you support him?
I support him because of his track record, the hard work, the faith and belief he has for this country, the determination to cause change. William Ruto is one politician, I can confess, in this country, that it's a man. When we went to Kerio Valley situation, when the things were terrible in Kerio Valley, he has visited there every 1 week. Okay. And he makes decisions on the spot without working on the bureaucracy that people talk about. That is what impresses me about him.
Why are people so scared of him?
They are scared of his competition. He's the only guy after Uhuru Kenyatta that will be the president.
Why do people say he is so unforgiving?
William Ruto, of all people in the Republic of Kenya, has worked with so many politicians that in the past, never supported him. William Ruto is a good friend of Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria confessed publicly that he was duped to frame things about William Ruto. William Ruto is a good friend of so many politicians that they never sat in the same bed in the past. By the way, William Ruto supported Khalwale in his by-elections, despite the fact that Khalwale later came and wanted to fight him in parliament. So he's not as vindictive as people talk about.
No.
Yeah.
Jeff, thank you for giving me the mic, and try and exercise a bit of moderation in the discussion. Now, I want to agree with Murkomen when he says that in the coming days, in future, we look forward to a Kenya where people will not be elected on the score of ethnicity. should that good result then obtain, Murkomen, then people will be elected on parameters where they have demonstrated talents of good governance. Your hero, Deputy President Ruto, is the face of corruption in Kenya.
What corruption?
Can you relax? Can you relax?
Yeah, but you must back what you say with evidence.
Yeah. I thought you were debating.
One thing. One thing.
Yes, yes. Just a minute.
Just say one.
So now, the one thing that we want to talk about, I am responsible for having nailed him on the maize
You
scandal.
never nailed him, he nailed you.
Two,
He nailed you instead. He embarrassed you actually.
the land scandals, that he's been involved in.
Which one?
Including the one of my own cousin, Adrian Moteshi, which he took in Eldoret during the post-election violence. Three, the hustler jet. You remember that was the first thing I shocked you with in the Senate when the deputy president took a whooping 100 million Kenya shillings, hired a jet to go and do whatever he did west in West Africa. That story, you killed it because the chairman of public accounts was his locker boy by that time. That is how that hustler jet thing died.
Who's the locker boy again? Who's the locker boy?
I think the chairman was Babu.
Ababu Namoro?
Yes. So you cannot be proud of somebody who is corrupt and tell us that because you love him for that, unless you partake of the proceeds of the corruption, that he's going to be the best.
Jeff Koinange, I mean, let's be factual. There is only one institution that can declare someone corrupt. It's the courts of the Republic of Kenya. There is no single incident, despite the hate campaign run by people like Khalwale, despite the envy that they demonstrate, despite the misuse of Public Accounts Committee and committees of Parliament. You know, William Ruto, every time he has been implicated on anything, whether in Kenya or ICC, he has come out on top. And I remember what he said once, that, you know, God turned the stones that were put on his way to be the stepping stone to a greater heights. And I want to say this, in the fight against corruption in this Republic of Kenya, the reason why Kenyans are frustrated that people are not being nailed on the fight against corruption is, in the first place, the allegations against the people who are being mentioned are actually framed. And I can give a very real example. When our law firm was invited to a Public Accounts Committee of National Assembly, some members of Parliament asked for bribes. And when we were unable to pay them for those bribes, they went ahead and threatened me, and they said, you know, we will mention your name whether there is evidence or not. We will say you must be charged whether there will be evidence or not. We will make sure, I don't know, they have not finished the report. We will ensure that we put you. When you start using the fight against corruption as a mechanism of smearing mud on people, when you do what Khalwale was trying to do with the maize scandal, where he was defeated thoroughly, you undermine the fight against corruption because it loses the meaning. And that's why we have said, members of Parliament, for example, we must build the institutions of DPP, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and the Department of Criminal Justice, Crimes and Investigation, to do the independent work. Don't allow people like Khalwale to come and investigate Oparanya, and he's going to run against Oparanya, or because they have a political agenda. In any case, there is no time politicians have become investigators of crime.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to give you the mic right now, Daktari, but here's the deal. We have to wind down. We've done an hour. We have to wind down. But in your winding down closing statements, could you please answer one question for me? In that winding down, where is Weta?
No, I will not do that. That's not debate. The debate is still on the issue.
No, this one we finished.
No, you have not. I have the right of response. If the criminal justice system was working in this country, Murkomen would not be seated where he is.
Where would he be?
He should be in jail.
This man?
Why?
Yes.
Why?
For the reason that the NYS scandal, the principal players, they have mentioned his name.
So,
And the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament requested him to appear before it. Instead of appearing, he dodged and did all manner of things. He can use this opportunity to explain why he did not go to take up the opportunity to clear his name before Public Accounts Committee.
So you say he would be in jail today?
Finally, you'll respond. Finally, if Murkomen really was asked for a bribe, This is a lawyer. He knows that the crime of corruption applies to the giver
And the taker.
and the taker.
Correct.
Why didn't you report the one who wanted to take from you?
Listen,
You are lying.
We can debate this all
But
day long.
we have to
Why?
reply. We have to reply to that. First of all, Jeff, there was no time that I was mentioned by anyone that I was
You were
partaking in-
mentioned.
No,
You were
mentioned.
come-
What's the
let me-
problem
can
with you?
Can I now respond? I mean, don't make statements
Go
of
and respond
finality.
in Public Accounts
I was
Committee.
never mentioned anywhere. Our law firm was acting for clients. We represent criminals. Khalwale was once charged. He was represented by a lawyer for professional negligence.
But you were paid.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm saying every lawyer who is going to represent any client must be paid, and the law firm must be paid. So there was no time I was mentioned as Murkomen. In any case, the law firm was well represented in the Public Accounts Committee.
Then why did you
But
go to say
second-
that in
Second
public
and most
accounts?
important, I am the only public leader who has written to the Speaker of National Assembly requesting an investigation of members of National Assembly on allegations of bribery. And I have said the Speaker should avail that committee for me to appear
The
before it.
Speaker's office
And
is
by
not
the
a
way,
police
Jeff,
station.
and by
The
way,
Speaker's
Jeff,
office is not a police
by the
station.
way-
You should have
by-
gone to
by the
record
way,
a
Jeff,
statement at the
by
police
way, Jeff,
station.
Yeah.
the Public Accounts Committee of National Assembly is a toll station for corruption. It is the place where they hear any investigation here, they want to run there, and the first thing they will do, if you give us something small, we'll make sure your name is... I will not be surprised if they make the report finally to say, because the law firm of so-and-so did not explain this, it must be investigated, must do that, because they have never handled a situation. I will be the only person in this republic they have never handled a situation where a person faces them to the face and tell them, will not take bribe, will not take any nonsense, bring facts, and we'll be able to deal with you.
Okay.
So
Dr.
closing remarks now.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
And
closing
could you,
remarks.
Could you throw in that Weta?
I will.
Where is
I think
Weta?
I
will tell you where he is.
I'll do that. In my closing down remarks, I am very saddened that in his last speech as President of Kenya, State of the Nation address, the President never remembered to tell the country where the Kibaki projects that he took over from Kibaki government are. We wanted him to tell us that the standard gauge rail line that Kibaki envisaged to come from Mombasa all the way to Uganda, Kigali and Burundi and South Sudan has come this far. We wanted him to speak to the lapsed Lamu Port project. We wanted him to speak to the pipeline. We wanted him to speak on the Greenfields airport terminal. Instead of doing that, he has done what he has done today, and I'm shocked that a young politician like this was standing to give him a standing ovation just to demonstrate the rule of sycophancy that the young politicians are now bringing in the Senate and in the National Assembly. I decry this. Finally, the issue of Wetangula. Wetangula is alive and well, up and kicking. He's been doing his public functions. He has presented his request that he be nominated as a flag bearer of NASA. It remains our hope and wish as the Fort Kenya fraternity that he'll find favor with the 12-man committee. Next question.
Yeah, we haven't seen him. Public rallies, we haven't seen him.
It means you don't keep yourself abreast with current affairs.
Okay, but what are his chances of being flag bearer?
Very good. All the 4 core principles enjoy equal opportunity, equal chances of
Really?
becoming the flag bearer.
Really? That's why they're so miserable out there in those pictures, eh?
I tell you. Because I know your political persuasion. I'm not surprised. But that is in your other life, not the current one.
Jeff, I really want to thank the President for... President Uhuru Kenyatta means well for this country, and it's been steering the public debate to issues, you know. What has been lacking on the other side is that every time we present issues for debate, let's debate the railway, what have we done? Let's debate energy, what have we done? Let's debate our schools, what have we done? The problem with the other side is that because they cannot debate on issues, they are deficient of issues. These are people who combined the years in government, all of 4 of them, they have been in government of about 100 years. And if you think about them, you know, coming to tell us that they have anything new to give to our republic, of course there is none. That is why they cannot debate on issues. And that's why all projects that they have launched, whether it was Okoa Kenya, it failed. whether it was their elections like ODM, black men failed, whether it is NASA, this conglomeration of NASA, one joint nomination, it has failed. This is, that is a team that has demonstrated a sterling performance on the level of failures they have. But on the other side, we have an entity called Jubilee, which is in government, led by President Uhuru Kenyatta, that is only competing against its own record. We are not actually competing against the NASA. We are competing against our own record and standards that we set for ourselves, and against 50+1%. I have no doubt in my mind that with the political performance we have done at the moment, we are definitely coming back. And we are not coming back out of arrogance. It's out of performance, because Kenyans, unlike NASA leaders, look at the performance and they can look at our scorecard and they are confident that will come. But on the Wetangula thing, Wetangula to Khalwale is a ladder, you know. He wanted to use Wetangula as a ladder to get his gubernatorial position. After that, he will dump him. And let me tell you, this is not new to Khalwale. Khalwale used to Mudavadi.
Who will dump who?
Who will dump who? Khalwale will dump Wetangula, because he will be now out there, having been a presidential candidate, he will be jobless. And that is exactly what happened to Mudavadi.
And you and the DP, any ladder?
Mudavadi. I want to say this very, very openly, that I have open and public support of the Deputy President unconditionally.
Gentlemen.
You know, this is a fair comment from my brother about me using my colleagues from my community as ladders. Yes. You know, Kenyans should remember who Murkomen is. Murkomen is one of the test tube politicians of Deputy President William Ruto. Test tube. To this extent, he ran against Total Man. But because of but because of test tube politics, people like him and many other politicians have emerged. We are waiting to see in the next dispensation how many of these test tube politicians will be able to win an election.
Let me just no. This is just a
He's a doctor.
No, it's okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. He should be attributing that to Amen Ashe, which is a very nebulous concept. I want to say that I am a very proud son of a squatter who made it
Thank you. I wanted you to say that.
Who made it to beat a billionaire.
I wanted you to say that.
And now you dress like one.
At the age of 33. You know, the achievements I have made politically is uncomparable.
All right,
and number two and most important,
those
of us who've come to office, we have no apology by having William Ruto as our political mentor. But we must remind people, there were other people who wanted to come to office, but were defeated by other people. But we managed to come in because we convinced our people that we have an agenda, we have a vision. And any person who has watched me, whether in public platform or in my village or in my school or in my county, they know that I am a leader and a dealer in hope.
All right, gentlemen, can you promise me one thing at least?
Yes.
You'll both come back on the show one of these days.
Of course.
Is that okay?
Yes, we will.
I appreciate it.
But why have you allowed him to thank only one man? He's thanking Ruto for making him politically and forgetting to thank Raila Odinga for paying for his postgraduate studies in the US.
That is a total lie.
Oh
no, that is I was a World Bank scholar. Full scholarship. Raila Odinga never paid disclosure. I was given full scholarship by the World Bank. Fully.
That's full disclosure.
Yeah. That is my full disclosure.
Thank you so much.
And I had a first class.
Monica, are we going to go to that clip? Are we going to go to that clip?
Yeah.
All right. Gentlemen, you heard the president today in the speech, right?
Yes.
There's that song he sang, right?
Yes.
Let's listen in. You have to just listen in. Okay. It'll bring us back memories. Go on. Go to the clip.
Construction of the 51-kilometer Mariakani Bamba Road means that the farmer's song, Safari, oh yeah. Safari ya Bamba ni machero.
Confirms what I said, that this is PR, nothing else. PR. PR. Have we finished?
Not yet. Keep
Confirms
tweeting.
this is PR.
Keep tweeting at K Boni Mtetezi, at Kip Murkomen, at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, hashtag JKLive. I hope you've enjoyed this show as much as I have tonight. Gentlemen,
Thank you.
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you so
be
much.
back.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate
be
it.
back.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for watching. By the way, just to let you know, JKL is powered by Telkom Enterprise. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night. Good luck. Next Wednesday, if it is Wednesday, you know it's all about JKL. Good night. Good luck. God bless.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.